Game of hypotheticals called What If. Hey, Marcus Spears, what if Aaron Rodgers plays great in Pittsburgh this year?
Then the Steelers are a problem and a true, legitimate Super Bowl contender. Listen, great for Aaron Rodgers is like MVP. And that's what we saw, 3 years ago while he was in Green Bay with this defense and the ability of Mike Tomlin and this staff. If Aaron Rodgers plays out of his mind, then the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be an issue for everybody, and they could very well make their way through playoffs if you only have to win 2 or 3 games.
For sure. Now let's sort of scale it back just a little. Great by Aaron Rodgers' greatness standards is extremely unlikely, right? He's 41 years old going on 42. But great by recent Steeler quarterback standards is a very different thing. What if he is just, Dominique, a marked step above what they've gotten essentially since they had Roethlisberger in his prime?
If he's worth 1 or 2 more wins, that's significant. And I think the real reason why Aaron Rodgers feels valuable and why none of us will completely give up on him is we've seen that he has the ability to throw the ball well, and we know that no game is over. And so many games in football are decided, 50% of the games are decided by one score. And it felt like the Steelers, they had to beat you, right? Because they weren't going to lead some game-winning comeback drive too often. We know that Aaron Rodgers has the ability to do it, even if we didn't see him do it much last year. We believe he can still do that from time to time.
Do we know? Do we know? Because we didn't see him do it last year. We didn't see him do it the year before. Didn't really see him do it the year before that. He's 41. By the way, you talk about a Super Bowl threat. They haven't won a playoff game in 9 years. He hasn't won a playoff game in a long time. There are 17 NFL quarterbacks that have won playoff games more recently than Aaron Rodgers has. It's possible that this is just over.
Yeah.
And that's the way it looked last year with the Jets, and obviously didn't play the year before that. So I would be surprised if he played great, but I've certainly been surprised before.
Yeah, but Greeny asked the question starting with a great Aaron Rodgers season. We all accept that that's not going to happen. But I think it's not unreasonable for us to believe that we put him in a similar situation that they had Russell Wilson in last year. We put him in that situation. It's reasonable to suggest that he could do slightly better than that, which I think is great for this team. And that gets him in a position to play a first-round playoff game, and then we see what happens.
I do think they have other questions. I think the young offensive line has to come together, and we haven't seen that yet. We don't know how the run game's going to look. Defense has a little bit of age on it. I just don't think they're plug-in quarterback, and Steelers are great.
That's fair. RC and Jalen Ramsey are both talking about how well he can still spin it. Here's the thing. Guys like Aaron Rodgers, when he's 65, is still going to be able to spin it.
Yes.
The question is the athleticism. The question is the tendency to injury at players this age. It is extremely rare. Tom Brady may be one of one. Maybe Rodgers is able to do it. Let's talk about another age.
Can run with the football. And not only do they have Fryermuth at the tight end spot, they got Jonnu Smith out of Miami as well. So you got dual tight ends to throw the football to as somewhat of a safety blanket for the quarterback that you ain't looking to scramble in Aaron Rodgers at 41 years of age. So you got a situation where you can dip the ball off, short yardage situation. You got a DK Metcalf as your wide out. Okay, you got Tomlin. You got the offensive line, which is supposed to be improved. And I got an elusive running back in Warren that's got something to show as well because they placed their faith in him as the RB1. So my attitude is, hey, why can't I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and say, no, they know they're going up against Baltimore, who's going to score. They know they're going up against Cincinnati, who's going to score. They know they got to score in order to be relevant this year and to have a snowball's chance in hell of doing something. Why can't I look at them and say, yo, when we talk about sleeping, someone's snoring on them, for crying out loud. My attitude is, hey, and they might wake a few people up. They might do that, CC. They might do that.
This is why.
I'm just saying.
This is why it's so great. I'm going to use one of Stephen A. words. I believe now what I'm about to say is very apropos. I think it's apropos what I'm about to say. The Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys could be slept on as an offense. Yeah. Believe it or not.
That's nobody sleeping on them. Nobody's sleeping on them. They got Pickens and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, they are.
Nobody's sleeping on them. Nobody's sleeping on them offensively.
Our stuff has been hijacked. My team stuff has been hijacked, and they are sleeping on them offensively. But let me tell you why they sleeping on them. Because everybody always has this question about Dak Prescott. And is he this and is he that? He's going to be special this year. Now, we might not win a lot of games because our best defensive player may be missing throughout the year, but we're going to put up phenomenal numbers. We're not going to have a lack of a number 2 wide receiver. Actually, we're going to have a 1A and a 1B wide receiver this year in Pickens and obviously CeeDee Lamb. I love Ferguson, our tight end. Dak Prescott, the run game. Javonte Williams hopefully has a resurgence with this young physical offensive line. I know we got an injury. Dallas offense can be really, really good this year, and I expect them to be, and they being slept on.
That sounds like a lot of hope, Swaggle. That sounds like a lot of hope. Our offensive line, if it comes around and we're healthy, and the running back has a resurgence, that sounds like a lot of hope. That sounds like you playing spades and you got 3 of the possible. There's a lot of hope in there, Swaggle.
Aaron, you said you feel like the joint practices are more beneficial to you. What do you like about them? What are you looking forward to about this?
I said that? I think you did. Well, for the starters, yeah, because we don't play in the preseason a lot of times. Yeah. I think the thing you're always hopeful for is there's not a lot of fights. We went against Tampa a couple years ago, and they had some veteran guys, and it was pretty clean practice. So hoping for another clean practice with them, but it's good to go against a different team. I think what I said was, now that I'm remembering, that you get a chance to go against not vanilla defenses. So hopefully Todd, he probably won't show everything, but we'll do some stuff that stresses our protection and give us a chance to get some film to work on.
Aaron, what are some of the things you took out of the first preseason game?
Well, I mean, I'm just a silent observer, I think, for the most part, just watching the operation. And I can't stay silent the entire time on the headset because I got to be the voice of reason sometimes, although I feel like the headset was pretty clean. There's not a lot of freaking out on there, not a lot of people talking when they shouldn't be talking. So I thought the operation was good. I thought Mason and Sky played fantastic. I thought played great, made good decisions, were good with the football, opportunistic. And like I said, it's different in the preseason. It's football-like. It's not always real football. But they brought some pressures against us late in the game, and Sky did a nice job of hanging in there and hitting key for a great contested catch touchdown. So there were a lot of great things on the film. The way we started the game, thought Mason was super efficient. Giving Darnell a big body ball there in the red zone was great. And I think there's always things to work on, the details, especially with the second units. We're a little bit off. But I thought overall, you scored 30, you don't turn the ball over. You really only have 1 sack because Mason's taking the other one there on that one. A combination with KJ not getting out. I thought it was a pretty clean game.
Aaron, it seems like the fluidity continues to improve with the first team offense out here. What's leading to that?
Well, I think I'm playing a little bit better. I feel comfortable in the offense, and DK and I have been getting on the same page a little more frequently, which helps. But we've had some injuries. Obviously, Calvin's been out for a while, so we'd love to get him back. But it gives opportunities for other guys. I think Scotty's done a really nice job, made a lot of plays for us. I think Roman's starting to feel confident in what he's doing. I love the tight ends. I think you're getting a lot of production out of those guys. Again, with Johnny out, one guy I'd love to single out is Connor. I mean, Connor does the right thing every time. He's a really smart football player, and the smartest players are the best players. So he's the kind of guy you feel real confident that you can put him in there at any time and know he's going to be on the same page.
You said that you were sometimes the voice of reason on the headset. What does that sound like? What's an instance when you would get on there?
Well, sometimes people freak out on there and start yelling and screaming. Or other times people are talking that shouldn't be talking. But I'm more of the comic relief on there, I would say, at least week 1, with some timely or ill-timely jokes, untimely, I guess. But I've heard some freakouts in the past.
How much did you get out of these weeks in Latrobe, whether it's the, reps themselves or learning guys or even learning the fan base and that kind of thing from this whole experience?
Mike talks about it being things that you can't measure. The connections that happened here. Yesterday we had a home run derby here. And I was out in the hot sun just shagging shortstop for the most part. Ragging on Christian Kuntz for making a bunch of errors at the hot corner, but It's just those moments that you love, and as much as I look forward to my bed and not having to worry about bed bugs at times, I'll miss this experience just because it's really special to be able to make this walk down the hill every day and see the fans in the crowd, even when it's a hot day like today, is pretty special. And have the times in the calf with the guys, and find different guys to get to know, have lunch with, and then the night times over the dorms where you're talking football, talking life, playing cards, whatever it is, playing video games. I didn't forgot how to play video games, but I had to remember just to connect with those guys. I'll definitely miss those times.
Do you make it a point about how Mike Tomlin was a big draw for you signing here? I'm curious what your relationship was like before signing. Were there any memorable interactions maybe around the Super Bowl or any other previous interactions that stand out?
No, not really around the Super Bowl. Just the one time we tried to...
All right, Steelers Nation. Let's talk about this latest update straight from Coach Mike Tomlin. Because if you were hoping to see Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, or TJ Watt suit up against the Buccaneers this weekend, well, you're going to be waiting a bit longer. Here's the deal. In week 1 of the preseason, the Steelers took a very conservative approach, holding out most of their key veterans. And according to Tomlin himself, that exact plan is rolling over into week 2 against Tampa Bay. Now, this isn't just about resting the starters. It's a calculated move. The Buccaneers were already in town this week for joint practices, and Thursday's session served as the real test for many of the veterans. In other words, Tomlin feels like his main guys got their meaningful reps in a controlled environment, where the coaching staff could evaluate without the chaos of an actual preseason game. Here's who's out for Saturday. Aaron Rodgers. Our 41-year-old QB isn't taking unnecessary preseason hits. And honestly, I'm good with that. DK Metcalf. No need to risk your #1 target before week 1 of the regular season. Jaylen Warren. RB1 duties will be handled in September. Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith. Both tight ends sitting, keeping our offensive safety valves healthy. Isaac Sumalo. Veteran O-line stability isn't something you want to gamble with in meaningless games. TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. Pass rush is the heart of this defense, and Tomlin knows it. Cam Hayward. The leader of the defensive front won't step onto the field until it counts. Patrick Queen. Our big free agent linebacker signing gets more sideline time. Core secondary guys. Mink is gone, but Joey Porter Jr. and the other mainstays aren't suiting up either. Nick Herbig is the one maybe. If he didn't get enough quality work during practice, Tomlin might let him run a few snaps, but even that's up in the air. Now, here's what this tells me. Tomlin is going all in on keeping this roster fresh, healthy, and ready for the real thing. And honestly, given how many big-name additions we've made this offseason, Rodgers, Metcalf, Patrick Queen, Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, this is a smart call. We already know what these guys can do. The focus now is on figuring out depth, giving bubble players their shot, and protecting the core of this team. But here's the flip side. This approach comes with a little risk. Chemistry in live game situations matters. Timing between Rodgers and his receivers, communication on the O-line, defensive assignments in real speed action, those are things you can only sharpen in actual games. There's a chance that when week 1 comes, this team might still need a little in-game rhythm adjustment. Still, I think Tomlin is banking on 2 things. Veteran experience. Rodgers, Metcalf, Watt, Hayward. These guys don't need a preseason to know how to perform. And joint practices. The sessions against Tampa Bay likely gave the starters enough competitive work without risking injury. Here's my prediction. Don't expect to see many of these veterans at all this preseason. Maybe Tomlin gives them a short cameo in the final game just to get a little action. But I won't be surprised if the first time we see the full starting lineup is in the regular season opener. Now, I want to hear from you, Steelers Nation. Do you agree with Tomlin keeping all the big names out, or do you think they should at least get some preseason snaps to build chemistry? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button if you're ready for week 1, and subscribe to Steelers Nation Wire so you don't miss a single update. Because trust me, this roster is stacked. The expectations are high, and when these starters finally take the field, The NFL better be ready.